Oh yeah, now I'll give you guys my story. My meet cute with my dude. So, I had never dated anyone in my life. He had dated one person. And that is a totally different story. I'll ask him if I'm ever allowed to tell that story because it's pretty embarrassing. But so I probably won't tell you those stories. But so a little preamble. So me and my dude are both socially awkward nerds. We prefer to stay inside and play video games. But we're in college. We did not have any friends who went to the same college. So we had to go and try to make friends. I found a group and I was hanging out with them. But my poor dude, he was trying to talk to people and everyone would just ghost him and it sucked. So he was ready to finally just give up. And he would just go to his room and then play his video games. And then it was first day of school. And we were both taking a computer programming class and the teacher was late. And he said it was like there was a quest marker above my head. He also thought I looked 12. So he's worried I was a child genius, which I find hilarious. But he went up to me and said, "I like your shirt," because I was wearing a Pi Day Star Wars shirt. And he was wearing a fairy tale shirt, even though he has never watched fairy tale. I told him his shirt was also cool, even though I had never watched fairy tale. We have still both not seen fairy tale. And then we just did the usual, this is my major. This is where I'm from, and that type of stuff. And we just talked from there. And then we ended up going to class, and we sat kind of near each other. And the teacher just kept on talking about his stupid chart of successfulness for like 30 minutes. And it was very boring. And he was going on and on about it. So my dude just kept on looking back at me and we kind of giggled at it. Fairy tale is mid anyways. I've heard that. But so we and then it was time to go. I had another class. I think he had a break time. And it's like, okay, I gotta go. And he's like, "Oh, do you have a Discord?" And because at the time I was based, I did not. So I said no. But I have a phone number. So I gave him my phone number. And then later that day, we went to the dining hall. And we talked about Skyrim. And I talked about comics and shit. And he showed me that he had a badass suit of armor that he wore to the Renaissance Fair. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's really cool." And we talked until the dining hall closed and we were kicked out. So we were there for like 3 hours. And then we met the next day. And the next day. And the next day. He got like another controller so that we could play video games together. I'm really glad, in hindsight, that he didn't murder me. Because I was like going to his room and stuff, and I got into his car in the first week of knowing him. So it's really good that he wasn't like a murderer or a rapist. So that's good. And the whole time we were trying to subtly flirt with each other. But because we're socially awkward nerds, we were so focused on flirting with each other, we didn't notice that the other one was flirting. So it was kind of hilarious because we were both stupid. One of the days, we made an arrangement where I'd go with him to get his flu shot, and he'd take me to the comic book store, and I thought that was a good deal. And I talked to him while I was getting his flu shot, so he wouldn't be scared because he doesn't like needles. And then we went to the comic book shop, and that was fun. And we had dinner with each other every single day at that dining hall. And then I think it was finally the next Monday. It had been a full week. We had also had the conversation of, oh, we're both conservative. We can say whatever the hell we want now. So that was fun. We figured that out pretty quick. So that was fun. Uh, his It was also really funny because my parents wanted a picture of him. So I was like, this is gonna sound really weird, but can I have a picture of you? And he's like, my mom was asking me the exact same thing. So we exchanged pictures of each other. So that was really funny. And so first, so it's been a full week of us hanging out every single day. Also, he walked me to like my super late class because he's a gentleman. And and he waited 3 hours for me to come out of my super late class so that he could safely get me home because he's a gentleman. And I was talking about him, like, all week, and my parents are like, "I think the dude might like you," and it's like, "No way, he's just nice." Because I'm stupid. Okay. And we had also talked about his mom had wanted him to ask if I was saved, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then he tried to explain what it was, and it's like, "Well, yeah, I believe in Jesus and stuff, and I have a relationship with him." And he's like, "Okay, cool." But his mom was super anti-Catholic, so I had to go over, "Yeah, no, we don't worship Mary. Here's our general beliefs," and that type of stuff, and he was very receptive to it. Okay, and then finally, it's Monday, and we're sitting there, and we're at the dining hall again, and I think we're talking about things like, you only date if you wanna get date someone if you can see yourself marrying them and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Oh, I know you've never dated anyone, but, like, is there anyone at this college that you like so far? Because it's been, like, a week." And I'm like, "I think this is an opening. I'm gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna take the opening." So I said, "Yeah, you." And then we stood there giggling like a bunch of idiots for, like, a minute. And then it seems like, "Okay, now what?" And I was like, "Okay, this might be TMI to you guys." It's like, "Okay, first things first, abstinence. We are not going to scootily poop until we get married." And he's like, "Oh, thank God," because my last girl wanted me to do stuff, and I said no. And it's like, "Okay, we're on the same page, thank God." And we both agreed the only reason you date is because you think that you can marry a person. So we were doing purposeful dating. We had already agreed. We knew our values were the same, and we started dating. And within like a month, we were talking about like how many kids we want to have and stuff like that. But and then he proposed to me at a Renaissance fair a few years later, and it was great. My dude's the best. I had the best dude in the whole wide world. Is the literal he? I have a literal knight in shining armor, and he's so chivalrous and stuff. He'll hold the door open. He's a very gentlemanly dude. He is the best. I can't believe he's a real person, and I can't believe he deals with me. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, so that's the main gist. The main gist of how I met my dude and how he's the best thing ever. But yeah. Also, it was kind of funny. Apparently, when he was in his youth group, they had him write a card and describe everything that they wanted in a spouse. And apparently, I met every single thing on his card. So I think that's cool. And he also talked about basically praying for me since at least high school to meet me. So that's pretty great. I really like that story.